Most people don't have a time problem. They have a priority problem. They spend their best hours on things that don't matter, then wonder why their dreams remain exactly where they left them. If you continue giving your attention to everything, you will eventually have nothing meaningful to show for your effort. The real challenge is not finding more time. It is developing the courage to say, this matters and that doesn't. In this speech, we're going to confront the habits, distractions, excuses, and comfortable routines that quietly steal your potential. And more importantly, you'll discover how to force yourself to focus on the few things that can actually transform your life. Stay until the end, because the final lesson will challenge the way you decide what deserves your time every single day. You must learn to separate what is urgent from what is important. Your phone may be urgent. Someone else's request may be urgent. A notification may be urgent. But urgency does not automatically mean importance. Important things are often quiet. Learning a skill, building your business, improving your character, strengthening your relationships, taking care of your body, and preparing for your future. If you don't deliberately choose your priorities, the world will choose them for you. Every morning, decide what deserves your strongest energy before the distractions arrive. You cannot build an extraordinary life by constantly negotiating with yourself. There will be days when you don't feel motivated, days when the work feels boring, and days when comfort sounds much more attractive than progress. That is precisely when discipline becomes valuable. You have to train yourself to act according to your commitments rather than your temporary feelings. The person who succeeds is not always the person who feels inspired. Often, it is the person who simply keeps doing what matters when inspiration disappears. Your results are connected to the quality of your daily choices. A great life is rarely destroyed by one enormous mistake. More often, it is weakened by hundreds of small decisions that seem harmless. One wasted hour becomes a wasted afternoon. One postponed task becomes a habit of postponement. One unnecessary distraction becomes a lifestyle. But the opposite is also true. One focused hour can become a skill. One disciplined morning can become a productive week. One courageous decision can change the direction of your entire future. Don't underestimate the power of small actions repeated consistently. You have to become comfortable saying no. Every yes has a price. When you say yes to unnecessary commitments, you are saying no to something else that could have moved your life forward. You cannot attend every conversation, chase every opportunity, answer every message, and pursue every idea while expecting to have extraordinary results. Focus requires elimination. Protect your attention as carefully as you protect your money, because once time and attention are spent, you cannot buy them back. Your future requires fewer distractions and stronger decisions. Finally, build a life around what matters instead of constantly reacting to what demands your attention. Ask yourself regularly, what am I building? What am I becoming? What deserves my energy? What can I eliminate? What would make the biggest difference if I worked on it consistently for the next year? The answers will reveal your real priorities. Then organize your days around those answers. Don't merely hope that important things get done. Schedule them, protect them, and execute them. Your life changes when your priorities stop being wishes and start becoming actions. Force yourself to do what matters, especially when it is difficult, especially when nobody is watching, and especially when you would rather do something easier. Every person receives the same 24 hours, yet some people use those hours to build a meaningful future while others spend them reacting to distractions, entertainment, other people's demands, and temporary pleasures. The difference is not always intelligence, talent, or opportunity. Very often the difference is knowing what matters and having the discipline to do it. Think about your own day. How much of your time goes toward activities that actually improve your life? How much goes toward things that simply keep you busy? Being busy can feel productive, but activity is not the same as progress. You can spend 10 hours moving and still go nowhere if you are moving in the wrong direction. This is why you must learn to force yourself to focus on what matters. Your most important work will not always be the most exciting work. Sometimes it will be studying when you want to relax. Sometimes it will be working on your business when entertainment is calling. Sometimes it will be having an uncomfortable conversation instead of avoiding it. Sometimes it will simply be sitting down and finishing the task you promised yourself you would complete. The world will constantly compete for your attention. Your phone will ask for it. Social media will ask for it. Other people's opinions will ask for it. Distractions will always be available. But your dreams cannot compete with everything forever. At some point, you must decide what deserves your attention and what doesn't. So ask yourself a powerful question every morning. What is the one thing I can accomplish today that will make my life better tomorrow? Find that answer, protect it, and do it before you give your best energy to anything else. Because when you consistently invest your time in what truly matters, your days begin to change, your habits begin to change, and eventually your entire life begins to change. You must learn to separate what is urgent from what is important. This is one of the most valuable disciplines you can develop, because life is constantly putting things in front of you that demand immediate attention. A notification appears, somebody sends you a message, an email arrives, a new problem shows up, and suddenly your entire day is being controlled by whatever happens to be loudest. But remember this, loud does not mean important. Some of the most important things in your life are quiet. Building a valuable skill is quiet. Reading and learning are quiet. Planning your future is quiet. Improving your character is quiet. Spending meaningful time with people you love is quiet. Working toward financial independence is often quiet. Nobody may applaud you while you're doing these things, but they can completely change your future. The urgent will always try to steal attention from the important. That is why you must decide your priorities before the day decides them for you. When you wake up, don't immediately ask, what does everyone else need from me? Ask, what does my future require from me today? That question changes everything. Perhaps your answer is 1 hour of focused study. Perhaps it is completing an important project. Perhaps it is exercising, making a difficult business decision, improving your finances, or having an honest conversation you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, give it your attention before the insignificant demands of the world consume your energy. You don't need to accomplish 50 things today. You need to accomplish the right things consistently. Make a short list. Identify the tasks that genuinely move your life forward. Then protect those tasks from interruption. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Put the phone away. Stop checking what everyone else is doing. Give your most valuable hours to your most valuable priorities. Because if you don't control your attention, someone else will. Your future is being built by what you repeatedly choose to give your time to. So stop confusing urgency with importance. Learn to recognize the difference, and then have the courage to choose what matters, even when something less important is demanding your attention. You cannot build an extraordinary life by constantly negotiating with yourself. There will always be a reason to delay. There will always be a reason to wait until tomorrow. You may tell yourself that you are tired, that you are not ready, that you need more motivation, or that you will begin when the circumstances become easier. But if you keep making deals with your weaker side, eventually those excuses become your lifestyle. Discipline begins when you stop asking yourself whether you feel like doing the work. There are mornings when you will not feel motivated to get up early. There are evenings when you will want to quit before finishing the task. There are moments when entertainment will look more attractive than education, comfort will look better than effort, and procrastination will feel easier than action. Those moments are not interruptions to your journey. They are part of the journey. You must learn to act according to your commitments rather than your temporary emotions. If you decided that you are going to study, then study. If you decided that you are going to exercise, then exercise. If you promised yourself that you would complete an important project, finish it. You don't need to feel powerful before you act. Sometimes action creates the feeling of power. Think about the person you want to become. That person is being created by the choices you make when nobody is forcing you. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you break a promise because something easier came along, you make it easier to break the next one. So stop waiting for perfect motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. Decide what matters, make the commitment, and follow through. Your feelings may change from day to day, but your direction should not. The goal is not to become a person who never feels tired, distracted, or discouraged. The goal is to become someone who can feel those things and still do what needs to be done. That is where real self-discipline begins. Your results are connected to the quality of your daily choices. A great life is rarely changed by one enormous decision. More often, it is shaped quietly through hundreds of small choices that seem insignificant at the moment. 1 hour wasted today may not seem important, but repeated every day, it becomes weeks and months of lost opportunity. The same principle works in your favor. 1 hour spent learning can become a valuable skill. One disciplined morning can become a productive week. One difficult decision can prevent years of regret. One small improvement repeated consistently can eventually produce a result that seems extraordinary. This is why you must stop underestimating small actions. People often look at successful individuals and only see the final result. They see the business, the confidence, the knowledge, the achievements, or the lifestyle. They don't see the ordinary decisions that created those results. They don't see the mornings when that person had to choose between comfort and progress. They don't see the countless times they had to say no to distractions and yes to their priorities. Your future is being constructed through repetition. If you repeatedly choose comfort, you become comfortable with avoiding difficulty. If you repeatedly choose distraction, you train your mind to lose focus. But if you repeatedly choose discipline, learning, action, and responsibility, those qualities begin to become part of who you are. So don't ask yourself, can I completely change my life today? Ask a better question. What small decision can I make today that moves me in the right direction? Maybe you can read 10 pages, make one important phone call, complete one difficult task, save some money, exercise for 30 minutes, spend an hour learning something valuable. The action may look small, but consistency gives small actions enormous power. You don't need to win the entire battle today. You need to make today's choice count. Your life will eventually reflect the things you repeatedly do. Therefore, choose carefully. Your habits are writing your future one day at a time, and every ordinary day gives you another opportunity to write a better story. You have to become comfortable saying no. This may be one of the hardest lessons to learn because every yes feels harmless in the moment. Yes to another invitation. Yes to another conversation. Yes to another notification. Yes to another favor. Yes to another hour of entertainment. But every time you say yes to something, you are spending a limited resource, your time, your attention, and your energy. And once those resources are gone, you cannot buy them back. If you want to accomplish something meaningful, you must understand that focus requires elimination. You cannot give your best energy to everything and still expect extraordinary results. There will always be more things you could do, more people you could respond to, more opportunities you could chase, and more distractions competing for your attention. You must decide what deserves a place in your life. Saying no does not make you selfish. Sometimes saying no is how you protect your purpose. When you say no to unnecessary distractions, you are saying yes to your goals. When you say no to wasting an evening, you are saying yes to learning. When you say no to another excuse, you are saying yes to discipline. When you say no to something that doesn't matter, you create space for something that does. Think about how much time you lose simply because you are afraid of disappointing people. You don't have to explain every decision. You don't have to participate in everything. You don't have to follow every trend. Your life has a direction, and not every road deserves your attention. Learn to ask yourself before committing, does this move me closer to the person I want to become? If the answer is no, have the courage to decline. Your attention is one of your greatest assets. Guard it. Your time is your life in measurable form. Spend it carefully. The more clearly you understand your priorities, the easier it becomes to say no to what doesn't matter. And every powerful no creates room for a more meaningful yes. Protect your priorities, protect your energy, and remember that sometimes the most productive thing you can do is simply refuse to be distracted. Build your life around what matters instead of constantly reacting to what demands your attention. Every day, the world will present you with new distractions, new problems, new requests, and new opportunities. If you spend your entire life reacting, you may stay busy for years without ever moving toward the future you actually want. You need direction. Take time to decide what matters most to you. What are you trying to build? What kind of person are you trying to become? What skills do you need to develop? What relationships deserve more attention? What responsibilities can no longer be ignored? What must change if you want your future to look different from your past? These questions are important because clarity gives you power. Once you know what matters, organize your days around those priorities. Don't simply hope that important things will happen when you have free time. They probably won't. There will always be another distraction waiting. There will always be another reason to postpone. Schedule the important work. If learning matters, make time for learning. If your health matters, make time for taking care of yourself. If your business matters, dedicate focused hours to building it. If your family matters, give them your presence instead of only your leftover attention. Your priorities should appear in your calendar, your habits, and your daily actions, not just in your words. And remember, you don't need to change everything at once. Start by identifying the few things that would make the greatest difference in your life. Then give those things consistent attention. Every morning, ask yourself, what deserves my best energy today? Every evening, ask, did I give my best energy to what truly matters? Those two questions can transform the way you live. Eventually, you will discover that success is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things repeatedly. It is about eliminating what doesn't serve your purpose and giving your strongest effort to what does. Your future is waiting on the other side of your priorities. Stop allowing distractions to decide your direction. Choose what matters, commit to it, and then force yourself to follow through, especially on the days when it would be easier not to. Here is a strong motivational conclusion that brings the entire speech together. At the end of the day, your life is not determined by how busy you are. It is determined by what you choose to do with your time, your attention, and your energy. You can spend your entire life responding to everything around you, or you can make the decision to focus on the few things that truly matter. You don't need another 100 goals. You don't need another excuse. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You need clarity, discipline, and the courage to act. Stop giving your best hours to things that give you nothing in return. Stop allowing distractions to control your attention. Stop saying yes when your priorities require you to say no. And stop waiting until you feel motivated to do the work that your future depends on. Decide what matters. Then do it. Do it when you are tired. Do it when nobody is watching. Do it when progress feels slow. Do it when your mind tells you to choose comfort. Every time you choose what matters over what is easy, you are becoming stronger. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build confidence. Every disciplined action is a vote for the person you want to become. Remember, your future is not created someday. It is created through the decisions you make today. So when tomorrow comes, don't ask, what do I feel like doing? Ask, what needs to be done? Then get up and do it. Your time is limited. Your attention is valuable. Your potential is waiting. Force yourself to do what matters and keep doing it until the life you once imagined becomes the life you actually live.